Whoa, are you guys ready for March? I don't think so, but you will be after you watch this. Welcome, everyone. We are going to be talking about March, and it is an explosive, fast-moving, fast-going. It's go time. I've been saying that, but it is really go time. I'm going to show you these aspects. Now, getting back to what I just saw. Listen, I'm a Sagittarius, so the first thing I'm going to do is laugh. That's just what I do. It's just I'm a Sagittarius moon. So, um, how do I say this? If you ever hear me not laughing, I would run. Like, that's the best way I can tell you. So, I'm laughing because I'm like, some people, I don't know. I don't know. I can't even say everything I want to say here. Anyway, so what I just saw in that Oval Office, I have never seen before. We are shock and awe. I've discussed this about Uranus, about our stability, about about our luxury, about what we want, about our resources and how we are so resourceful, right? But Uranus there at the 23 degrees, that's my whole point, is we've got these planets at 27, 23, right? And Uranus being at 23, I told you it was going to expel to me, 22 and on to 29 is where the planets really expel or express or help you unfold whatever it needs to do at the most that planet is going to expel. It will begin to do that in that house, in whatever particular house it is, from 22 on. So you can call it expel, express, whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying at 23 degrees, Uranus is going to shock and awe. And I'm telling you, when I was watching that, I was like, wait, at first I thought it was AI. I was like, is this AI? Did they just redo this? And then I realized that they were on live. So that really was happening. But, the world needs to know we're all changing, right? No more. I mean, I can go into the whole whatever, but I don't know that every American would think this, but this is what I'm thinking. For decades, this has been done to us. For decades. And no more on the backs of my grandparents, my parents, my great grandparents, my husband, my late husband, the backs of our people. No more. No more. And everybody needs to know that we've had enough. Okay. So that's all I'll say about that. I'm not political, but that's how I'm feeling is like they need to know because a lot of people think they know Americans. They don't know America. They don't know Americans. And I'm not just saying it's Americans. I'm just saying we are all in a new era. Okay. And you kind of need to know where our boundaries are as Americans. Okay. And we haven't been really letting people know for the longest time. Um, and that goes for our government too. Yeah. We're no joke. We really aren't. Okay. So that's happening there. We have that square with that new moon. I said something must end. There has to be this letting go because where you're going, you are not the same, right? Where you see your dream, when you see your dream, when you see your envision your stuff, that's you, but that's the you that's been through you right now. Okay? So there was something that you need to let go of. There's something that you need to get through. There is some closure that's happening. How can we tell? Because look at all these planets here in Pisces, which is the end of the cycle. We're going to Aries, which is the end of the cycle. And I'm laughing because I'm like, oh God, Aries is no joke. Again, I don't mean to make light of it. It's just my way. Like I'm very optimistic in that way, right? But I'm like, oh God, here we go. So laughter comes out. So anyway, let's get back to these charts and leave my opinion out of this, right? Like just do your thing, Cindy, and quit talking about your personal stuff. Anyway, so we have this Jupiter, which I told you was gonna make this new moon big. So even though it's a new beginning, there was this letting go, this coming through, this putting the boundaries, this closure of this sort of thing. And I just think I saw that in the world. That's what I was saying. I think I saw where everybody's going to see that we are not what you thought we were. Okay. We actually never have been what you thought we were. But, we just kind of let it go. But not anymore, because we're going into this new phase. It is about community. It is about groups. It is Pluto in Aquarius that's teaching us that we can work better and have more movement in groups, but we can also keep our personal and anonymity as well. That's what Pluto's teaching us, but there are some things that have to fall. The way that I see it and the way that why I'm bringing this up is because Pluto at 2 degrees, we've been at this energy before, and that was tied in. This is just me as an astrologer and a medium, and this is the way I see it. Again, we haven't experienced this in our lifetime, right? So, but we've experienced this before last year when it went to 2 degrees, right? So, this is part of that ending of Capricorn, because we are ending, right? The new moon, that ending of systems, that ending of hierarchy, that ending of, the big structures that need to come down, right? We've been in this energy. We were in there once last year, right? Not until it gets to 3 and 4 that we're going to see it's not like we haven't seen new stuff, but we're going to really be in energy that we haven't been before. Okay. So, we've got all these planets getting ready to move into Aries. We've got Neptune at 28 degrees. Neptune at 28 degrees is illusion and sometimes delusion. Okay, I've talked about this. We've got this North Node. This North Node is at 27 degrees. For me personally, that North Node is my natal return. Right on the new moon when it happened, that North Node went right on my North Node. So I started my natal return. And then we've got Saturn here really asking us to be responsible about what we're going to do. Okay, about how we're not going to just leave it in fantasy land and keep it delusional or illusion, but we're actually going to bring it down and be practical with it. Okay. But to do that, we had to be authentic. We have to be authentic. Okay. So that's just a sort of a review of what has been going on. And I said this before. Here we go. Get ready, because it's going to be a fast one for March. Okay. So on March 1st, we have Venus stationing retrograde at 10 degrees and 50 minutes. Okay. So it's going to station retrograde on March 1st. And this is in Aries. And then in April, it is going to go all the way back into Pisces. But in April, it's going to station retrograde. And then on April 12th, it's going to station direct. Okay, so it will be at 24 degrees Pisces when it stations direct. So that means, and we have been talking about this, Venus is going to go all the way back here where you're going to like rethink, redo, and that's the only re's right now, right? But you guys have been working on this. You've been working on it with Mars. Mars in Cancer is helping you see clearly about the choices that you want to make over here with this Venus, because Mars and Venus have this synastry going on. Okay, so it will be retrograde until April 12th, all right, in Pisces, and then it will be moving forward where we're going to have these other starts. Then on March 3rd, guess what? Mercury moves into Aries, right? So there is a message coming of a start that's going to happen. And as it gets closer to Venus, you're going to see more clearly about what that's about. Again, we have all of these endings going on over here, which are already showing themselves. But that's March 3rd. We've got Mercury coming over here and ingressing into Aries, okay? Where it is going to conjunct Venus, okay? So then we have, before I say that, before I move on to the next one, I want to say with Mercury, pay attention because Venus is now retrograde as Mercury's coming into Aries. And Mercury's getting ready to retrograde over here. Okay. So pay attention to what's coming. Pay attention to what's going to be starting for you. Pay attention to what message you get or news you hear, that's it's gonna it's gonna cause you to start something. It's gonna cause you to think about starting something or processing how you're gonna start this thing. Um, yeah, but there's a message coming this way. Okay, and it's a big one because the reason I say pay attention is because these are coming this way, and soon. That's not like, I know these are outer. This one's an outer planet, right? Excuse me, but pay attention because it's all unfolding for you. Okay. Now, once you pay attention to that, March 11th comes, and on March 11th we have this conjunction between Venus and Mercury, and that's why I'm saying pay attention, because whatever this is going to start clearing up for you. It is Venus retrograde, so you may not make any movement on it yet. It may not be fully clear for you yet. And again, it's different areas for different people. If you want to know more about that, where I go really in depth per sign, then you probably want to join my my members only. Okay, so when Mercury goes here and conjuncts it's talking to, when Mercury is talking to Venus, there, pay attention here. Because you've got something that you're either, so it's not just news. I mean, it's news in the way that it's something that you're going to hear, you're going to see, you're going to understand, right? But it's also processing that, right? So there is something here that maybe it's coming back around because that Venus is retrograde, and there is something here that you're going to either understand better, get word of, maybe an email, maybe a text, maybe a call, maybe somebody comes to you, right? Whatever this is, and it has to do with what you've been working through as Venus has been moving here. And we've had a lot of movement in the last week or so. And when Venus came in here, I said, pay attention, because whatever that's happening is going to come back around, right? Whatever is happening is going to come back around. This is the time where it's going to come back around. Okay. So there is some message, there is some understanding, there is some processing that you're having. Like maybe you kind of all of a sudden get it, or you're like, oh, that's how I should do it, right? And it's this right here is conjunct, it's a sextile, sorry. So this Mercury and Venus is sextiling Pluto, and look where Pluto's at, that 3 degrees. This is new. This is something you had either thought about, tried to manifest. Maybe things were showing it themselves to you in the last week or two. But remember, this has to do with this. If it's sextile Pluto, it's an opportunity coming to you of this start, because we're in Aries, of maybe how to do it, maybe that you can do it, whatever this is. Okay, just understand we have that conjunction there, and that's on the 11th. Okay, and then just when we have this conjunction going on the 11th, the very next day, the 12th, this conjunction starts happening. So this Sun and Saturn, the Sun moves fast, so this Sun and Saturn has to do with this ending, and this way to navigate through, and the possibilities of whatever you've been trying to bring in or working on or thinking about or whatever. It's different in different people's chart, right? But this is a conjunction, so this is going to bring light to, the Sun is bringing light to, and it's still, I mean, this is only 5 degrees apart. So this has to do with the North Node here. Where are you going? Your destiny's coming. I keep telling everybody, your destiny is coming. And I've already seen it where it's forming with people, because they're calling me, they're texting me, they're like, this and this happened, where they thought there was no way that those things could happen. they're happening. And I'm saying you got this North Node here. Yeah, you have this destiny is coming for you for all of us. Okay. So we can't mess it up, right? But Saturn's trying to help you be responsible. There may be something that you hadn't been able to move forward or felt restricted about, or maybe the resource wasn't there. Maybe the work wasn't there. Maybe you hadn't worked hard enough. Maybe you tried and then it just didn't go through and nobody was cooperating and da 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 da. Well, when the sun comes here to conjunct it, especially since you have this Venus and this Mercury also conjunct at the time, and we're talking about the North Node in Pisces, I can see some things really clearing up, getting easier. I told you when Saturn hits 22 degrees and on, he is going to be starting to give you rewards, give you the physical stuff is finally coming through for all of the hard work that you've been doing. Okay. It's a fast moving month. There's a lot that's going to be happening in your personal life and in society and on the globe. So just get ready. This is why we had that long retrograde season, because that was when you should be thinking about everything and redoing everything and I said when it's go time, it's go time. The only thing that we need to keep close to our heart is this Venus retrograde. Through all of this that's going to happen with everyone, just keep in mind that the Venus retrograde is here on the inside of you, talking to you and saying, are you keeping your boundaries? Have you loved yourself enough? Have you nurtured yourself with these choices that are going to come, with these opportunities that are going to come about? The one question that you should be asking is this nurturing to me? Will this fill my cup? Will this go over a boundary? Will this, do, what kind of sacrifice do I have to make? If you're saying you have to make a sacrifice, that ain't it. And Venus is going to show you that ain't it. Okay. So just be very aware. Okay. So something is coming through. Big Daddy Saturn. I know some of y'all, and in astrology, he's the grandfather, but to me, he's Big Daddy Saturn. Okay. And he is going to bring something through. The sun is here to shine light, almost like saying, yeah, you did see it correctly. I've been testing you. You've been working hard. And now a little bit of it's going to come through so that it unfolds, because your destiny is here. Okay, does that make sense? Then, just as it's starting to clear up for you, things are starting to happen for you, we've got this lunar eclipse. So we've got a lunar eclipse in Virgo. Okay. Um, there's the sun, there's the moon, they're right next to, it's not a total eclipse, it's a lunar eclipse, right? So there is more letting go. There is, and this isn't anything you have to do. This isn't anything that you have to do. This is stuff that just gets eclipsed. It's an eclipse, right? So it's getting eclipsed. It's the letting go. It's the ending of something. And it's the ending of something because it's getting you back on your destiny, right? So we'll feel this for a couple of months, but we're like in the middle of, that's when it starts, as we're in the middle of letting go. There's some endings that are excuse me, there's some endings that are occurring. We've got all this stuff going on because Venus is retrograde. You're going to need to check in with yourself again as this eclipses, right? Will it happen on that day? For some of you, yes, but some of you, it won't. It's where we're in the process of ending as the new beginning comes in. But the new beginnings don't even start officially until the end of the month when the solar eclipse is here, right? So this is the lunar eclipse, right? Now, I would say with the lunar eclipse, you don't have to do any ritual, any ceremony, any steps. The only thing that I would do is check in with yourself, right? Lunar eclipses are about just letting go, about trusting, and about there isn't anything that you have to do or had to do or needing to do or needing to think of. It's nothing like that. It's just part of what's on your path, and it will be directed that way. Does that make sense? Like, if that job needs to go because you've been complaining about it for 10 freaking years, but haven't got the courage up to become this other thing, but you've been dealing with it for 10 freaking years, and it is in your destiny to become this other thing. Guess what? That can be eclipsed at the lunar eclipse. Okay? That's why it's important to pay attention to your red flags, because eventually eclipses come around, and that's what they're there for, to eclipse you, to eclipse situations, to eclipse. And we're going to see this on a global scale too. There's some endings, there's some big endings that are going to happen. There's some systems that are still going to be brought down. There's some new financial things that are going to be brought down. There's like a lot going on. Okay. And again, I dive deeper into that um with my members. Okay. So just know that on the 14th, we're having the lunar eclipse in Virgo. And so right here, this lunar eclipse in Virgo, right? You have all this Pisces energy that's pulling you, that's being activated. Miracles can come through, dreams can come true. That can be going on too. As this ends over here, this is all these new beginnings happening here. Okay, does that make sense? There is something here eh, about your Virgo side. Everybody has a Virgo side, right? So there is something about the way it's organized. Maybe it's too controlled. Maybe it's too hypervigilant. Maybe it's too critical. Whatever this is, it's too strict and it needs to relax. And so that's where the lunar eclipse comes. Okay. All right. So on the 15th, then we have Mercury going retrograde. Now, Mercury is doing a lot of talking right now on this day. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because as he retrogrades, he is conjunct Venus, right? So there are going to be delays. There are going to be all the re's, like I've told you guys, reassess, redo, like all of the re's, right? But Mercury, like when it reads, there's like miscommunication, there's delays, there's the regular Mercury thing, right? But the thing is not only is he talking really closely to Venus about your boundaries, about the beauty and the love and the romance and the money and the things that you want, he's going to allow this is where we start to process those things, right? But that's not the only thing he's doing. He is in a semi-square to Uranus, right? And he is in a sextile. So both him and Venus are semi-square Uranus. This has to do with your emotions. Like Venus can hurt, right? Venus wants to know that you've nurtured yourself. Venus wants to know that were you ever loved the way that you were supposed to, the way that you feel that you should, right? That's the deeper conversation that Venus has. She wants to know that you've kept your boundaries, that you understand that you mean something. Those are all the deeper stuff that I've talked about before with Venus and with Mars working in synastry. But remember, and I have a video about that and I'll put it up here. Um, so as Mercury comes in and retrogrades, Mercury and Venus are both semi-square this Uranus. So the semi-square to me is almost like, when somebody, because when we're talking about Venus and Mercury, it's almost like somebody says something that like, ooh, you're like, ooh, that hurt a little. But it's there. It's not like a very forefront thing, like in it's not something that you're going to focus on, but it is something that's kind of a like, ooh, ow, I don't like when that happens, or ooh, did they really say that to me, or something like that, right? It's like this little e. I don't know how to explain it. That's the way that I would explain it. Not that I don't know how to explain it. That's the way I would explain it. It's like maybe Aquarians and Sages and Geminis can understand what I'm talking about. Where it's like, ow, did they just really say that? Oh, I don't even know if they meant to hurt me, but they did just a little, right? That's the semi-square that I'm seeing with Uranus. So with Uranus, I'm feeling like something can shock you and you'd be like, "Ooh, did I just see that?" Like what I was talking about earlier, where I'm like, "Is that AI that I'm watching?" No, it's them for real. Like what? Like that kind of now, I mean, they didn't hurt me, but I was like, "Yeah. Yeah, say what you got to say so we can see the truth." Right? Anyway, so it's in the semi-square with these two, and then they're also in a sextile. So they're sextile with Jupiter, which is going to make it bigger, right? Jupiter makes it bigger. Jupiter is optimistic, but he makes it bigger. So whatever this is going to be pronounced. That's not just on a personal level, that's on a global level, that's on a societal level, right? So this is all about us redoing. We've come this far. I want to say this like this. On a personal level, we have come this far. On a societal level, we have come this far. And on a global level, we have come this far. Now it's just time to adjust, incorporate what we want to, understand that we are needing to ourselves to be nurtured, our lands to be nurtured, our society to be nurtured, our country to be nurtured, our globe to be nurtured. Like, that's all this is asking. It's going to be pronounced because it's Jupiter and there is optimism. Okay? So that's how I see that. And that is on the 15th, like right after this lunar eclipse, because things are going to be happening. So get ready. Now, before I go on and move into the next one, Mercury is going to be retrograde for 3 weeks, okay? About 3 weeks, right? So it's going to station retrograde at 9 degrees, and then it will here in Aries, and then it's going to move back into Pisces, and in April, it is going to station direct and then move back over, right? There is something here, especially with this Chiron. Personally, on a societal level, on a community level, on a global level, there is something that we have been dealing with Aries that and Pisces that we are needing to end and needing to begin. But there is this wound that we are having an issue with and not knowing how to move forward with as we have these new beginnings. So we got to go over this part again. Does that make sense? It's like we cannot help but be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and so this start never comes, right? That's what's been going on, right? We have been working on this for 3 or 4 years, 4 5 years, okay? So just keep in mind that we have that Chiron wound, and the misconception from my understanding is that's a different wound than Pluto. We do not, we are not we do not, it's not that we can't. It's that we're not meant to heal this wound. Right? Now, this wound doesn't always have to be painful, but we are not meant to heal it. We are meant to work with it. And through that, it drives us to help others. Okay? That's the Chiron wound. Now, think about what I just said, and put that on a societal level. Put that on your community level, put that on your global level, our global level, put that on your personal level, okay? So as we're beginning and ending, we're having to do a couple of things. We're needing to rework, but we are going to begin because Chiron has been here helping us get better about identifying who we are and then moving forward from there. Not healing this wound, identifying who we are. Okay, makes sense? Now, on the 19th, keep in mind when I say this, sorry. Keep in mind when I say this. Um, the sun, and there's going to be cazimi. So the sun and Neptune, right? That's a cazimi. They're going to be conjunct, right? On the 19th. We have destiny here. Neptune being at 29 degrees, there are some endings and that are going to be going on. There's some like letting go that needs to happen. And the sun is going to help you see it better, be able to do it better, have the courage for it, understanding that you are the important one, right? And clearing up how you can do this, right? Because it's got to end. Whatever this is for you, it's got to end. You've got this North Node. You've got destiny knocking at your door. That's what's happening. You've got destiny knocking at your door. You're going to need to see this, but it needs to be as you end, you're creating that something new. Your dreams are going to come true, right? So, with now remember, the sun's not only going to Kazemi here, but on the 22nd, he is going to Kazemi here. And then on the 24th, he's going to Kazemi here, right? So he's going to clear up things here. That delusion that we've been seeing, it's going to help us see how to end things. And then we got to move into Venus, where he's going to Kazemi here as Venus is retrograde, but he's going to help you see the way. He's going to help you understand you are important. Help you, give you the courage to be able to, for some of you, to be able to even look at it and realize that you have not, that those things that you have wanted, relationship situations, uh, money, business, whatever it is that you've always wanted, like deep in your heart, when the sun comes here as Venus retrogrades right here in this area that we have been working on for years, right? I feel like you'll finally get some clarity and some understanding that you, by not looking at your red flags, by not wanting to change the patterns and directions, and by not honoring yourself, it's going to give you clarity. And it's not a bad thing where it's like shame on you. It's almost like a, wow, I really am what has been holding me back. It really am why my dreams have not come true. It had nothing to do with that person that did something to you. It had nothing to do with the fact that society is blah blah blah. It had to do with the choices that I made, right? So for me, I can see that clearing up for you, but it's very healing because Neptune at 29 degrees is very healing. I mean, we may make it sound like it's a harsh thing, but it is. Neptune in her home sign at these Indian degrees, there's a lot of healing that's going to be going on. There's a lot of alignment. I call it alignment, y'all call it healing. But there's a lot of alignment. And what you realize as you feel better is that you are feeling better. And then as that happens, your attitude changes, your mindset changes, and you're opening up your energy so that these beautiful things that you have been dreaming of, Neptune in Pisces with Saturn and the North Node, have are finally going to come through. Okay? It's not a bad thing to have Neptune. It's very healing, it's very aligning. Okay? So, those are those three Kazimis, and then he's going to Kazimi Mercury. So there is message, there is processing, there is understanding, and I think that's what I was saying as the sun moves here and then here and then here. We're ending. It's time to let go. So some of us, what I'm getting is like some of us are only doing it because we have gotten in such a habit of being that way or doing that thing or having it this way that we've just kept doing it. We didn't even think about it. We were just doing it. But that's no more. It's time to change directions. Not just on a personal level, but on a global scale, right? Like, it's just, you're not even that person anymore. You're not even that person that first started doing that thing or have those patterns because that's what you needed to do at the time to protect yourself, to feel better, to whatever. For whatever reason, that is why you begin doing it. But you're not even there anymore. And it's time to let those things go. It's time to let those people go. It's time to let those situations go. It's time to let those thoughts go. Like, let the thoughts go. You are no longer in poverty or not being abundant or any of that. Like, you've worked on yourself. You understand that you are not what people think you are or said that you were or said that you were going to be. It's time to let that go. You're not even there. You don't even believe that anymore. You don't even believe it. You just have a habit of doing it. It's time to just let that go. And I think with Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde and this Neptune at 29 degrees, you're going to understand that better and you're going to feel better. You're going to feel it better. Okay, because you've got destiny coming for you. I don't even know how to much more clear I need to say that. And we're going to be at the ending of your destiny so that we can start the next phase of your destiny when we have the solar eclipse. Okay. Okay. So all of what I just said was leading up to this part. All right. And this is where I can show you. Neptune is going to be at 29 degrees. Okay. And this is on March 27th. Neptune is going to be at 29 degrees. Venus retrograde is going to be at 29 degrees. There is some closure. There is some changes. There are some changes. There are some closures. There are some changes. This is the 29 degree. There is reworking, re-seeing, re-feeling, re-putting a boundary, looking at the red flag, like there is some ending coming. Okay. It's not something that you have to do. It's something that if you don't, it's going to be done because of this. Well, by this time we will be in the lunar eclipse energy. Okay. And that's what the eclipses do. They eclipse to get you on your path. Okay. So pay attention on this day. You may not think that you may not. So this is why I think Saturn, where Saturn comes in, because this normally would be, if I saw this in another year, like maybe I saw it last year, right? I would be saying, oh, you need to be sure and see things clearly, right? I don't feel that with this group. I feel like with Saturn being in here and really helping us work in this energy of illusion, delusion, fantasy, what people used to say, seeing it with rose-colored glasses. I think that when you do, you'll know the difference, right? And you'll change accordingly to whatever this is that you need to end. Okay. But if you don't, it's okay. But I don't feel like you won't because of this Saturn at 23. It's at 23 degrees. It's expressing. It's been testing you. It's been teaching you how to take these dreams, how to take this fantasy. Which one do you want? How is that going to come about? What work do I need to do? You've been doing this for a year and a half. Okay. So, as long as you are authentic, which you have been learning to be, this is some ending because we'll be in this energy of ending because you're about to move into the beginning. Okay. So there's something here. Pay attention to this day. Now, here we go to the 29th. So on the 29th, we are going to have a solar eclipse. And this is in Aries. And this one's important. We've been talking about these endings, right? Well, you needed to make room for this beginning, right? And this beginning, this solar eclipse is at the very beginning, right? So it's the beginning of your whole chart. It's the beginning of all the signs. It's the beginning. So and look, Mercury is going to be retrograde right at 0 degrees, right? So there is some news that maybe you misunderstood, that maybe was delayed at the time, that maybe you need to like make another choice about. I don't think that it's a harsh one or something that's going to have you stuck because this Mercury is too close to this, and this solar eclipse is pretty close to this north node, right? So then we'll have the solar eclipse in Aries. So there is new beginnings, and you know that energy of the new eclipse is like for the next 6 months. Okay. It doesn't, some of you will have things happen on that day. Others, it will be a little later, a little later, a little later. It depends on everybody's chart. Everybody's different. But in the next 6 months, after the 29th or on the 29th, is when that energy sort of lets you know that things are going to be happening that you feel like you had no control of. You know, it could be the best thing, best change for your life. but it is a solar eclipse. So something is changing, something is beginning. That's why something must end, some things must end so that you make room for this beginning. But I feel like you'll either get an understanding on that day, or because it's not clarity, it's like some news, it's some aha moment, right? Because we're at Mercury retrograde. Or it could be like, oh, that's why that was delayed. Oh, I thought they didn't say that, but they did. I took it wrong, or something. Something is, it has to do with Mercury. It also has to do with money, because Mercury is money too, right? So Mercury is connected to money, finances, right? So it could have to do with that as well. So just understand from March 29th, and I don't believe the energy stops or starts. I don't think any of us do. Like, we know energy doesn't stop and start, right? So it doesn't just happen on that day. It can happen, a couple days before. It could happen a week before. It depends on your chart, right? But the energy goes on for the next 6 months as things unfold for everybody. And I don't feel like it's just one thing. We have way too many planets to say that it's just one thing that's coming for you. You got a lot of glorious, beautiful things. Okay. And then the last thing that I will say is that right after the solar eclipse, like right after the solar eclipse, and I'll do videos on all these planets and their aspects and what I feel deeper about it. Okay. And that will be um on my members. But that very next day, um and look at this. We got 29, 29 on the very next day, right? So 29, 29, 29. And then Neptune goes right in. Still March 30th. A little later in the afternoon for us, for where I'm at. And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but Neptune moves into Aries. Okay. So all this dreaming, all this illusion, all this clearing this up, I all of this, we got to rethink, we got to redo, we got to make sure, we got to like we got to we our destiny is coming. All the things that we were letting go and trying to like envision, right? So that we could have that open up for us. Then we have Neptune going into Aries, and we've got Neptune, we got the sun, we got Chiron, we got the moon, right? There are new beginnings coming for you. And as these planets come through, they've already gone through this north node. It's basically like they've gone through this portal of this north node, and they're like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Yeah, this is what we're doing. As they step through the portal and into the new energy for you, then it's about all of this becoming physical and unfolding in your life. And things are going to be happening, right? And I will go over all these other aspects that are going to be, but that's the whole month. We got like bam, 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 bam. Okay. So good luck to everybody. I know you got this because you've always had this, and I have every faith in each and every one of you. Thank you for watching my video. I will go in depth with some of these aspects per sign on my members only. So you can tap down at the bottom and join if you'd like. Otherwise, I will see you on the next one. Bye.